it on our website. And then I will also be sharing it by email with everyone who's on the call right now. So this is set up as a webinar, so you don't see a mute button or anything like that if you are an attendee. But if you have any questions as we go through the presentation, please drop them into the Q&A that you'll see at the bottom of your screen, and we will try to get as many questions as possible answered. So for today's presentation, we will start with our director, Jordan Schulteis. She's going to be providing an overview of the EDGE grant program, information about how to apply for the program, different requirements, things like that. And then I'm going to be providing a little bit of information from some of our past winners, some tips that they have provided us and suggested to people who are applying for the program. So we will go ahead and get started. All right, so Jordan, you can take it away if you're ready.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us so that we can have the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about our EDGE grant program and how to make your application have the best chance at success.
I'm so sorry, I'm confused. When should I start interpreting? Right now?
Yes, I'm sorry, Salima. I should have outlined that. Yes, if you could just interpret whatever Jordan is saying and what's on the slide as we go through each slide. Jordan can finish up the slide, and then Salima, you can interpret it, and then we'll move to the next if that works.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Buenos días a todos y bienvenidos a la reunión. Vamos a comenzar aquí con esta pantalla. Dice cómo aplicar para el grant del EDGE y cómo llenar la aplicación para que tenga el mayor éxito.
We are actually on our 4th round of EDGE, which is really exciting for our division. It feels like just yesterday that we launched our first round back in 2019. You can see the pictures here of some of our past winners. Our most recent round actually just held their award ceremony in this past summer. We were joined by Governor Carney at Painted Stave in Smyrna to present all of our winners with awards.
Estamos muy emocionados de estar aquí en este momento. Comenzamos en el 2019 y ya vamos en la cuarta etapa de esto, cuando el gobernador Carney nos dio la bienvenida y comenzamos el programa.
So what are the EDGE grants? The EDGE grants are meant to help small businesses gain an edge when they're competing with their larger, more established competitors. We have 2 categories for the grants. One is STEM and one is entrepreneur. Our STEM category is typically your scientifically research-based companies, and then entrepreneur is a really wide spectrum. So it's almost the catch-all of whatever is not STEM is definitely entrepreneur. In the STEM category, we have 5 awards up to $100,000 each. And then in the entrepreneur category, we do 10 awards up to $25,000 each. It's a really competitive process. Each round seems to get more applications as we move forward. In the last round, we actually had about 280 applications. So it's a big pile for our team to read through. So it's exciting to see the kind of ideas that are coming in, the things that are happening right here in our community. Out of the 280 applications, there's going to be 23 finalists. 8 of those finalists will be in the STEM category and 15 will be in the entrepreneur category. And then, of course, you see the winning breakdown there, 5 in STEM and 10 in entrepreneur for our winners.
Entonces existen 2 categorías. La primera es de STEM, que son todo lo que tiene que ver con investigaciones de matemáticas y científicas, y el resto, lo que no quepa dentro de esa categoría, sería lo que cabe dentro de los empresarios. Existen 2 premios, uno de $100,000 en la categoría de STEM, que son 5 diferentes premios que damos. Y en la categoría de empresarios existe un premio de $25,000 y ahí existen 10 diferentes premios que se otorgan. Es un proceso muy competitivo. A la última vez hubieron por lo menos 280 aplicaciones de solicitudes que analizamos. Hubieron 23 finalistas y 15 ganadores.
So who's eligible for the EDGE grants? The EDGE grants are for businesses that are 5 years old or less. So for businesses that started in 2016, you are eligible to apply for this round of EDGE. Of course, after next year, 2016 will no longer be eligible and we'll move to 2017 and forward. So if you're a 2016 business, make sure you put your extra effort into this round. It's going to be your last opportunity to compete. We are looking for those businesses that have 10 or less full-time employees. And one of the biggest questions we always get is around, how do I count my part-time employees? If they work more than 10 hours a week and more than 4 months out of the year, the calculation is 2 part-time employees equals 1 full-time employee. If your employee works less than 10 hours a week, or they're less than 4 months out of the year, maybe it's a seasonal type business, then you would not count them in your calculation. The business needs to be majority located in Delaware. So you need to have your physical presence majority here in Delaware. Net assets have to be less than $500,000, and you cannot have previously received a strategic fund grant. We get a lot of questions about, well, how do I know if I received a strategic fund grant? And it's actually a kind of a simple test. The strategic fund has to go through a very public hearing. So if you ever have received a strategic fund grant, you have been through the public hearing process and appeared in front of our Council on Development Finance. And I promise you'll remember that experience. It's a pretty big deal. So most of the time, that's not an issue for our small businesses here.
Ok, ¿quién es elegible para estos premios? Tiene que ser negocios que han estado en función solamente de 0 a 5 años. Significa que la última oportunidad para los que comenzaron en el 2016 sería este año. Ya el año entrante comenzaríamos con negocios que están fundados desde el 2017. ¿Qué significa empleados que están trabajando tiempo completo o tiempo part-time, tiempo mediano? Significa que dos, let me see, let me make sure I get this right. Dos empleados, so part-time is, I'm sorry, you're going to have to please repeat that.
No problem. 2 part-time employees equals 1 full-time employee.
Ok, si tiene 2 empleados que trabajan tiempo mediano, eso equivale a un empleado que trabaja tiempo completo. Ok, y tiene, and I'm sorry, the 10 hours per week, can you repeat that as well?
Yes. If your employee works less than 10 hours a week or less than 4 months a year, like maybe it's a seasonal type business, they do not get counted into the calculation for employees.
Ok, y si su empleado trabaja menos de 10 horas o menos de 4 meses al año, 10 horas por semana o menos de 4 meses al año, no cuenta como un empleado. El negocio tiene que estar localizado mayormente en Delaware. Y sus bienes tienen que sumar menos de $500,000 y tienen que no haber recibido anteriormente el grant que se llama Strategic Fund, que seguramente ustedes ya sabrían si lo han obtenido porque es un proceso bastante complicado y se recordarían de nosotros.
So the next question is, if my business is eligible and I want to apply for an EDGE grant, how do I do it? How do I apply? It's a very straightforward application that you can find on our website, delbiz.com/edge. It's asking you for basic demographic data, and you'll see on the second page, it's going to give you some categories that it's going to ask you to basically make a proposal to us. In that proposal, formatting should be pretty straightforward. It should be Times New Roman font in size 12, double spaced. Please don't make, we had some folks who submitted and, font size was really, really small. Margin size was really, really small. It was very difficult to read. So we want to make sure that we're able to read all of the great ideas that you're putting forth. So size 12, double space font in Times New Roman. There's a maximum of 20 pages for submission. And we are very, very strict on enforcing this. The reason being that when you get 280 applications, if people are writing more than 20 pages at a time, it is very difficult for us to give every proposal the full attention that it deserves. So make sure your application exhibits and financials total 20 pages or less. Once that is all pulled together, you're going to submit that to edgegrants@delaware.gov in PDF format. I highly, highly recommend that you get that condensed into one PDF. If you start sending them by separate pages or separate emails, you run the risk of something really important being lost from your application, and we don't want to see that happen to anybody. So try to get that in one file if possible. And then one piece that I wanted to highlight, and I'm going to say this more than once because it's so, so important. When the financial statements are requested, make sure that you include both a balance sheet and an income statement. That is by far the number one deficiency that we see, is that applications are missing. Typically it's the balance sheet, but when they're missing that piece, they can't even be read because they haven't submitted all the required documentation. So please, please, please make sure you submit both of those financials.
Okay. I'm sorry, I did not catch the website where they need to do it.
delbiz.com/edge.
Okay. Ok, para comenzar van a presentar la solicitud a través de delbiz.com -edge. Y tiene que ser presentado de la forma que estamos explicando aquí. Tiene que utilizar el Times New Roman, tiene que ponerlo en 12 puntos, tiene que ser de doble espacios. Tiene que ser máximo 20 páginas, que incluye todos los documentos y todos sus documentos financieros. Quiero advertirles, dice ella, que no vayan a poner más por páginas separadas, sino que sea un documento que exista como un PDF, no varias páginas, porque algunas veces se pierden las cosas si se presentan en varias páginas. Ella dice que tiene que existir el balance sheet y tiene que existir estos dos documentos, o si no, no pueden ni siquiera mirar la aplicación. Entonces, estos dos documentos son los más importantes. Please give me one moment. I really have to, I'm so sorry, look up this word. I just want to make sure that they get it.
No problem.
About, yeah, so sorry. Ok, la hoja de balance, ok. La hoja de balance tiene que estar presentada ahí, o si no, ellos no pueden ni siquiera comenzar a mirar la aplicación. Ok, thank you.
So when you read the application and you see the categories being presented for the proposal, and those are the items that we want you to hit, you're probably going to have a lot of questions about what exactly in that category are we looking for. Behind the application, it's in the same PDF document on our website, you're going to see a rubric. And this is an inside peek to what we are looking for when we are going to read your proposal. So I cannot stress enough, use the rubric to help you write your proposal. It's going to tell you every point that we're looking for, so you can really tailor your proposal there and make sure that you're hitting all of the points, and you don't have to wonder, gee, did I give them everything they were asking for? Pay close attention to the rubric that you're looking at. You can see the one on the screen here is a STEM rubric. There is a separate one for entrepreneurs. It's slightly different, so just make sure you're using the one for the category in which you're applying.
Ok, entonces al llenar la aplicación van a tener muchas preguntas para entender qué exactamente están buscando ellos. Existe este documento que en este caso es para lo de STEM, pero también existe uno que es para lo de empresarios. Y entonces en cada categoría aquí están explicando detalladamente exactamente lo que están buscando de evidencias. Entonces, utilicen estos documentos para estar seguros de que están presentando la información que debe ser presentada.
All right, and this is just a peek at our entrepreneur rubric, which you can find in the application file as well.
Ok, aquí pueden ver un poquito cómo se ve esta página.
So now that we're on our fourth round of EDGE, we've really started to get a clear picture of what makes an application successful and what sets it apart from the others. And this is really a great way to think about it. Start your proposal by telling us where your business is at right now. And you're going to see from the rubric, those are things like your market size, who your competition is, what are you able to do now in terms of capacity of your business. And then we're going to need you to define what the grant would be for. So what does your business need? If you were to get the grant, what would that do to your business? So tell us where you're at, tell us what you need, and then tell us where fulfilling that need would take you. And make sure that you're using data sources to back all of this up throughout the kind of the flow of the proposal here. You're going to want to talk about things like return on investment, both for you as a business owner, as well as maybe for the community, for the state, and just the overall impact that it would have. So don't think necessarily just about within your business. Think about the broader community impact. And I think that has been something that's been really unique for our winners that have been successful here.
Ok, quiero explicar que hay como 3 pasos importantes. El primero es comenzar explicando en qué etapa está su negocio, de qué tamaño es, quiénes son sus otros competidores, qué capacidades tienen en este momento. Luego pasarían a la siguiente etapa explicando qué exactamente, para qué se va a usar el dinero, de qué manera lo va a ayudar a lograr sus metas que tiene para el negocio. Pero la parte más importante, que es la que ha distinguido a los ganadores, es explicar cómo va a impactar a la comunidad, no solamente su negocio, sino cómo va a ayudar a la comunidad más amplia alrededor. Esta es la parte que en realidad distingue a los ganadores del resto.
So here's a couple areas that we see that are common pitfalls for folks. The first one is market sizing. Use the data sources that you have, and you'll see this in the rubric. Make sure that you are including external data sources to back up the assertions that you're making in your report. So size out your market. So for example, if you are a florist in Laurel, you're going to want to go out to some sources, and there's some sources listed on our website for you as examples, but make sure that you're using that outside data to back up that and define if you're a florist in Laurel. Tell us, how big is your market? How many people live in Laurel? Start to make some assumptions about how many people in Laurel might visit a florist shop, and then really kind of build it out from there. And Zulima, I'm actually going to stop after each one of these so I don't overload you all at once at the end, if that's okay.
Thank you, that will be helpful. Ok, la primera parte es explicarnos el tamaño del mercado en su área. Por ejemplo, si tiene un negocio que es de vender flores, queremos saber a cuánta gente serían su público. Y queremos que se refieran a unas referencias que tenemos, unos links que les podemos dar para que puedan hacer una investigación acerca del mercado que existe a su alrededor.
All right, so the next piece is defining your competition. And we definitely get the sense that people feel if they start to define their competition that we might think their business plan is not viable, which is not the case. We want you to make a really accurate assessment of where you fall in the market. We commonly see things where, reports that come in that say, well, I don't have any competition, I'm offering something really unique. That could be true. You might not have any direct competitors, but think about what they might purchase instead, because they're going to be your competitors as well. So going back to the example of the florist in Laurel, you might be the only florist for 30 miles around, but you have to also consider that instead of flowers, maybe somebody would send chocolates in place of that. So maybe the confectionery is your competition instead of another florist. So make sure you're accurately capturing the full landscape around what your competition is in your business and where you fit into that landscape.
Ok, la siguiente parte es definir quiénes son sus competidores. Primero que todo hay que pensar no solamente quiénes son, sino qué tan lejos están. En realidad, a cuántas millas quedan de su negocio, los que serían su competencia. Pero también de pronto hay otros negocios que están ofreciendo las mismas cosas, pero que no son solamente floristas. Podrían ser otros negocios que proveen el mismo servicio. También hay que pensar quiénes son ellos. Y entonces para poder explicar en dónde cae su negocio, en qué parte de ese rango existe su negocio.
The final point that I want to make here about, a common pitfall we see is people like to look at this through rose-colored glasses when they send us their report. They're hesitant to detail their challenges, and every business has challenges. And if you don't have them, then we're left to assume that you don't understand your business if you can't fully articulate what those are. So it is not a negative to have challenges in your business. So tell us what they are and give us your honest assessment and maybe some ways that you could help address them. It's okay to have challenges in your business. Don't shy away from that.
Ok, la última parte es explicarnos cuáles son las dificultades que tiene su negocio. Y muchas veces los dueños de los negocios se ponen las gafas de positivismo y solamente explican lo positivo, pero nosotros queremos ver que ustedes entienden cuáles son sus dificultades porque todos los negocios las tienen. Entonces, por favor, explíquenos bien de qué forma nosotros podríamos en realidad ayudarlos. O en qué área necesitan más ayuda.
So this is the second time I'll say it because it's super important. Make sure you include an income statement and a balance sheet with your application. The best applications that we see take the data from those statements and they incorporate it into their proposal. So that goes back to tell us where you're at and use your financial data to back it up as you make those assertions. We don't evaluate the financial statements. We don't give them a score. So don't worry if you think we're not looking for like a minimum revenue level or anything like that. It just helps us to understand a little better where your business is at. And it does help us validate the net assets requirement. If you're not, well, go ahead, Selena, I'll stop there.
Okay. Y quiero volverlo a decir, lo estoy diciendo de nuevo ya 2 veces, que es muy importante que nos provean los documentos de finanzas de su negocio, especialmente la hoja de balance. Nosotros estamos mirando esto no para sobreanalizarlo, sino porque lo necesitamos ver para tomar todo en cuenta.
So we also commonly get asked what happens if I'm not selling anything yet. That's okay. Your revenue would be 0 and you won't be docked any points for that. But if you have taken any steps to form your business, so if you've acquired a business license, if you have registered with the state of Delaware, if you have invested your own money to purchase equipment or a space, or you've started rent, and there's a whole host of other things, but you should have financial statements at that point. So if you're struggling to put those into place, please reach out to one of our regional business managers and we'd be happy to connect you with some resources to get you moving in the right direction.
Ok, y la siguiente parte es explicarnos bien cuáles son sus ingresos. Ahora, si están comenzando el negocio apenas y no tienen ingreso, entonces el número sería 0 en ese caso. Pero sin embargo, ya habrán invertido en todas las cosas que necesitan para comenzar el negocio. Entonces, esto también hay que explicarlo y hay que tomar en cuenta sus números. Si tienen dificultad con esto, por favor, búsquennos para que los conectemos con los managers de las regiones que existen, que ellos pueden darles ayuda en esto para que sepan cómo explicar esta área.
So the final question we typically get around financials is what's the difference between a balance sheet and an income statement? So we'll expand on that a little bit as well.
Okay. Y la última pregunta que muchas veces hay que explicar es ¿cuál es la diferencia entre la hoja de balance y el, excuse me one moment, please. One moment. Y el estado de resultados de su negocio. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre estos dos documentos? Okay.
So real quick, at a high level, a balance sheet is a snapshot of what your business owns at any given point in time versus how those things were funded. So the basic accounting equation there is assets have to equal your liabilities plus your equities. So make sure the balance sheet is in balance when you send it to us, or it would be just the same as not submitting it at all.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm feeling very ill. I'm not feeling well.
No worries. Do you want me to repeat?
Yes, please. I'm so sorry. I really don't feel good. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So your balance sheet is going to be a snapshot of what your business owns at any given point in time.
Ok, su hoja de balance va a demostrar qué es lo que su negocio tiene en ese momento dado.
And the other side of that statement is going to be how you paid for those things.
Y en el otro lado va a estar lo que usted, cómo usted pagó por esas cosas.
So if you have a checking account for your business, you should have an asset on your balance sheet to show that cash.
Entonces, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I'm so sorry. I have to excuse myself. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Jordan, I think we could keep going
Okay.
if you want.
Okay. And then we can kind of circle back around.
Yeah.
Okay. So the balance sheet is a snapshot in time of what your business owns, and then it's also how you paid for it. If you have invested money into your business, that would be in the equity section. So we would be able to see what the level is there. The income statement is the more common one that business owners see and what they typically think of when we say financial statements. And that's going to be where you show your revenue against your expenses so that you can tell what your bottom line is. Is your business making a profit or is it operating at a loss? We want to see both the balance sheet and the income statement. Both are very important.
Okay, so I will jump in. I also wanted to let everyone attending know we will be posting this presentation in English and Spanish. So we can have both of those available for everyone who's attending. So in terms of past winner advice, as Jordan mentioned, the rubrics for STEM and entrepreneur are really important. Excuse me, they can serve as an application roadmap. Go through the rubric as you're filling out your application, make sure that you're checking off all the boxes, that you have all of the information that the rubrics include in your application. Your rubric can also help you understand your business's strengths and weaknesses. Again, Jordan mentioned outlining the challenges of your business. Every small business has challenges. We know every small business has those. So the rubric can really help you understand some of the challenges that your small business may be facing. We also suggest being specific about grant use and business benefit. For example, if you are planning to use your EDGE grant to purchase equipment for your company, don't just say in your application, the money is for equipment. Specify, you are going to purchase new brewing equipment for your brewery. And here's what that equipment is. And here's how much more production the brewery can have if you're allowed to purchase that equipment with the EDGE funding. We also ask that you do some real research to determine your market and your competition. Again, Jordan touched on this a little bit, just understanding, the competition that's around you, even the competition maybe you didn't think about before for your small business. Again, there are several links and resources on our website. On the EDGE website, you'll see there's a tips sheet, and on the tips sheet, there is links to the Census Bureau, to the Small Business Administration, several different organizations that can help you determine your market, the competition, the different things in the area where your business is located. We also suggest talking with trade associations if you have one that's associated with your business type. So reach out to those trade associations, talk to them, let them know you're applying for the grant, and ask for their advice or their guidance in terms of doing market research and competition research as well. Earlier, I forgot to introduce our business managers. I'm so sorry. So we have a business manager assigned to each county in the state and also the city of Wilmington. So joining us is Joe Zilkowski. He's our Wilmington business manager. David Matthey is our Newcastle County business manager. Lauren Swain is our Sussex County Business Manager, and Laura Whistler cannot attend today, but she's our Kent County Business Manager. So we really encourage businesses who are applying to EDGE to reach out to their assigned business manager, depending on which county or city they're located in. Talk to the business manager, send them your application to ask them to review it before you submit it for consideration for the grant. The business managers are a great resource. They can really help you fine tune that application so that you are competitive for this competition. We do post updates and other information on our social media regarding EDGE. So we always like to do a plug for the social media during our webinars. So this is our Facebook or Instagram and Twitter. Please follow us. If you have any questions after the webinar, you're welcome to send us a Facebook message if you have Facebook. You can also reach us on our website at delbiz.com/contact. That'll bring up our contact form. You can choose whether to contact your business manager or communications or other sections of the division, but we are here to help you in any way that we can. So please follow us on social media and contact us in any way if you need us as you complete your EDGE application. Again, here's our contact page. So this is our website, delbiz.com/edge. Again, you can fill out the contact form to get to the right person. If you would like to email us directly, you can email us at business@delaware.gov. Our phone number is 302-739-4271. And then again, these are our business managers with their email addresses included. I'll be posting this presentation again and sending it out to everyone. So you'll have this in there if you need it. So that takes us to our Q&A. I think that we've been answering a few questions. So here's a question. If the business is brand new, what balance sheet or income statement can be sent? Would this disqualify us? So Joe responded to that and asked if they've spent money on a business license, on equipment or anything like that. And as Jordan mentioned, if you have taken those steps to get your business started, you should have an income statement and a balance sheet. You don't actually have to have money or make money off of your business yet to have a balance sheet or an income statement. And I answered these other couple questions. And again, this person asked, if a business started 10 years ago, they cannot apply. And that's correct. So this program is really designed to assist the newer small businesses who might have difficulty getting traditional capital funding from a bank or from another source. So this program is really available to help the young small businesses kind of take the next step or get expanded and things like that. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions. Does anyone on our panel have anything else they'd like to say? Oh, here's a question. If the grant is awarded, I'm assuming, Ms. Washington, you're asking about next steps. So we have the applications are being accepted through September 30th at 5 p.m. So after that date, we have an internal group that will be reviewing them throughout the month of October. And then after that, we'll be notifying the finalists by email that they have qualified as a finalist. And then it is a Shark Tank style competition. So the finalists will present to a panel of judges to try to convince the judges that they need to support their business and provide a grant. So again, it's very competitive. And the judging for the finalists will take place sometime in November. Ms. Washington said, what needs to be submitted as next steps or to prove how award was used? If you are approved for a grant, if you are a finalist and you end up qualifying for an award and the judges decide, you should get a STEM or an entrepreneur grant, then you will have to go through compliance checks. So we make sure that you are in compliance with all state and federal regulations. And then you'll work closely with your business manager from there on out for reporting and other processes. So Ron Tello.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to add, once you receive the grant funding, you have a year to spend it on the project. And then at the end of that year, you'll submit documentation to us that shows, you know, all of your receipts and the invoices and everything that shows what you spent and what it was spent on.
Thanks, Regina. And Regina Mitchell is our Deputy Director. Sorry, Regina, I forgot to introduce you. So Ron asked if we could explain the matching. Jordan, if you can just explain that, please.
Absolutely. I usually do explain that. I'm sorry, I must have missed that in the normal presentation. The matching requirement is it's a 3-to-1 grant. So for every $3 the state puts in, the expectation is that the small business matches it with $1. So for example, if we're talking about the entrepreneur that had a $25,000 grant, the math is actually a little bit weird on this one, with the 3-to-1, but it works out to $8,333 that the small business would need to contribute to the project as well. So if you're getting a $25,000 grant, your total project cost is actually going to be more than $33,000.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Oh, and then we had a question. If a business just started and is operating from home with the owner as the only employee, does this business qualify to answer? Joe, do you want to answer that question for us?
Yeah, you qualify. I mean, you need a business license, but just because you're operating from home, as long as it's in Delaware, and then the project's in Delaware, you're fine.
Thanks, Joe. All right, I think that it looks like we have answered all of the questions. Again, if a couple days from now you think of a question that we did not answer, please send us an email to business@delaware.gov or reach out on our website and contact us or send us a Facebook message. So we're here to help in any way and to answer any questions that you might have. All right, I think that's it. So again, I'll be sharing the presentation and the webinar link to everyone who attended, everyone who registered for the webinar actually. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to sit through our webinar and also to submit an EDGE application. This is a great program for small businesses. We're trying to get the word out more to different communities throughout the state. So we hope that we have done that with this webinar. So thank you for joining and have a great day.